Hello again, YouTube. These poor hands. I was wanting to give you an update on the P229, the pistol that I was speaking about last time I recorded a video, and show you the pistol I chose and why I chose it. First, before anything else, just confirming it is empty. There is no mag. It is safe. I'll also be showing you these. No ammunition in either of these. This is the 22 exchange kit. There's nothing in here. So why the 229? The 229 is pretty much an established workhorse of a firearm. I believe it's currently in use by the Secret Service. It has been used by the Coast Guard in the past, and I may be speaking out of school, but first I believe it was the issued pistols to the Navy SEALs for a time. So it has a long and proven track record. It is extremely overbuilt, very durable. I've probably at this point, I've been shooting this pistol for many years, thousands of rounds through it. And while I have other pistols where I have had failures to feed, failures to eject, more expensive, nicer pistols than this, I don't recall, don't want to say it's never happened, but I don't recall ever having a single misfire, failure to feed, an issue with this pistol. One thing I'll note while I'm handling it, when I first bought it, and this is the very basic model of the P229, there are elites and all other variations with extended beaver tails back here. This is the most basic model. It came with two flat side scales. A year after I purchased it, they offered what they call, I want to say this is they called this an E2 grip, or maybe an E3. It was E standing for ergonomics. So I don't know if you can see this in camera or not, but it swells here for your hands, and this comes in much further than it did with the old side scales, and it is a more comfortable grip. So I actually purchased the grip upgrade from SIG about a year or so after I got it. One nice thing about the 229, it has front checkering here. If you guys are into shooting, if you started looking at other pistols such as 1911s, well, I'm saying front checkering, it has front texture here. They're horizontal stripes, so but it helps with your grip. Which is nice. In terms of takedown, the 229 is, I'll show you the controls here. We have a decocker, so I'm operating this from behind, but you saw whenever I safety checked it earlier, I did not lower the hammer with my thumb. There's a decocker, so you depress this all the way down, and when you let it off, it lowers the hammer safely. So it has, this is your slide release, so unfortunately I'm going to have to turn this around so that I can see it. But when you cock it back, you just push that up, it breaks your slide, it holds your slide open, and the takedown lever is right here. So to take down the 229, it's pretty easy. Again, operating it from behind is tricky. That just swings down. When you release the slide, that just comes off. And this is what I was showing you earlier. This is you can see from the barrel there, this is a 22, but it has a lighter weight recoil spring. It does have a plastic guide rod, which when I got it I was concerned about, but again, I've put thousands of rounds through this. I'm no longer that concerned about seeing polymers used in pistols. I've just used it too much to have doubts whether or not they'll be effective. But to change from 9mm to 22, you just push this slide on. Sometimes you have to align the guide rod a little bit. Hold the slide open again, flip your takedown lever back up, release the slide, and now you've got a 22 pistol. That's what I liked so much about this, and that's why I bought it. And this is actually the first pistol I bought. This 22 slide did not come as part of an exchange kit. This 9mm slide did. But I can basically, the ergonomics of the frame are exactly the same. The trigger is literally the same every time I practice. I can practice with 22. Even the sights, if if I'm not mistaken, I know the 9mm came with Trijicon night sights. The 22, these may not be night sights. These may just be plain 3-dot bright white sights. But for all practical purposes, the form factor is identical. If anything, I believe the 22 is just a hair longer in terms of sight radius and barrel length. So I practice with both, but for probably about a year after purchasing it, I only used the 22. I was going to mention one thing, speaking of, even trying to do the takedown lever on this with, again, this is relatively early in the morning and my hands are kind of barking. If you're also coping with arthritis and you're working on building practice and proficiency with a semi-auto pistol, whenever I was younger, and again, I never shot a lot as a kid, but the few times I did, it was nothing for me to just do a little pinch on the back of a pistol and rack the slide back. And on this 22 with this very light recoil spring, that's a lot easier to do. On the 9mm, it's doable, but on some of my pistols, I have a very hard time with it. If you also have a hard time racking like this, what I would recommend, and what I do almost exclusively now, and it's what I mirror whenever I'm in competition for IDPA, is slingshotting it over the top. So instead of racking it this way, if I'm in the middle of a magazine change, whenever I seat the mag, I then come over the top and grab it this way, and I'm actually pushing the pistol forward. And I'm able to use all 5 of my fingers to get a strong purchase on the pistol, instead of just doing a little crab pinch 2-finger job back here. And that does make it a lot easier. One thing that you need to be aware of, and you'll see this on other tutorial videos on YouTube, if you're doing the over-the-top slingshot, and again, I've safety checked all of this, I still don't ever like to put my hand in front of the muzzle of a pistol, but you have to be careful that you're not doing, passing in front of the muzzle on your way to here. So that's just something that needs to be muscle memory, needs to be practiced. Once you've inserted a magazine, you come straight over and rack it that way. I'm not really sure what else to say about the P229. It doesn't have ribs across the top to cut down glare. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles that you don't need. I've never had an issue with an extractor problem with either the 22 or the 9mm slide. I'm sure all parts will break. But so far, I haven't had to replace anything. The trigger, especially the double action, you can see, so this is a double action, single action. So pull the trigger and it falls, rack the slide, and now you're in single action. You've got a fair amount of take up here. It's a little mushy. I have not had trigger work done on this. I'm sure it could be improved, but the pressure to break it in single action, I'm going to guess that's probably about 4.5, 5 pounds. It feels a little heavy, and for double action, that's very heavy. I mean, it's probably, I'm going to guess, again, I don't have a gauge here, but 8, 9 pounds. But there is no safety on a P229 or on most SIG pistols. So you can load or chamber around, decock it, and that heavy trigger is your safety. So it helps prevent any accidental discharge. It does not have the best trigger in the world, and at some point I will probably pay and get this tightened up a little bit, crisped up a little bit. It does come with a standard Picatinny rail. At this point, I don't have a light or a laser or anything like that I use on it. But just in terms of an all-around great pistol to start with, I'm very pleased. One note on the 2 different calibers. The 22, when you get it in 22, either standard or with an exchange kit, these are the only magazines made. And I wish that there was an aftermarket manufacturer that would make a metal magazine for 22. These are all polymer. They also don't perfectly seat in there. I've never had one fall out while I was using it, but it's just not tight. It's just not particularly, it's not a good fit. The standard magazines that come, at least in mine, if you're not in a state that restricts it, these are regularly 15-round magazines. They fit deep. They fit a little bit tighter than the 22s do. They drop free. I also have some aftermarket Metgar mags for the same pistol. I haven't had any issue with it. Again, not unlike a Glock. This seems to be a pistol that it just runs, and everybody else that I've spoken to that uses them, I haven't really heard any bad press on the SIGs. So that is the first pistol that I chose to get, and why I chose to get it, and in what configuration. So hopefully that helps, and I'll follow up hopefully in the next little bit. I'll try to make a video of the pistol that I purchased after this as a carry option, why I chose that one, and how it mirrors what I already had in the P229. So until then, thanks for watching. Please share your thoughts, share your comments. I'd love to hear what other people are doing to both enjoy the shooting sports and deal with arthritis or weakened or diminished hands. So, thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.